Let's be honest. If you're not shooting as accurately as you want to, it's probably coming down to one of these three things. I'm going to share with you what they are and how you can improve your accuracy instantly. The first one is probably something you are already doing, but with a slight shift in how you approach it, it can instantly increase your accuracy. When you draw back and aim, what are you looking at? Most people think aiming is just holding steady, but there's a better way and it's easier than you think. See, as humans, we don't have the natural physical ability to just hold our pin rock solid on the middle of the target, like we would with, say, crosshairs on a scope with a solid rest on a tripod or shooting sticks. Even the best of the best archers in the world cannot hold their pin perfectly still on target. How we perceive this movement in our sight picture can honestly cause a lot of anticipation and even potentially induce target panic in our shot. I'm not saying this is the end-all, be-all magic secret that will magically fix all of your shooting, but if you do implement this, it will certainly help you. When we draw back, if we put all of our visual focus on the sight pin, all our brain sees is that movement in our sight. This can cause stress during the shot, it can cause flinching or jerking, and it can keep us from actually holding steadier over the bullseye. When we actually shift our focus from having the pin clear to the target clear and the pin blurry, our brain does not interpret the movement of our sight quite as much, and we have better focus on exactly what we want to hit. We see less movement overall in our sight, and we can execute our shot more cleanly and more consistently. We are focused only on the exact middle of the target that we want to hit. By changing our focus from a clear pin to a clear target and focusing on the target, by staring at that middle of the target, our blurry pin is naturally going to want to keep centering, going back to the middle of that target, whatever that small thing is that we're looking at, and it will allow us to hold steadier and have a better flow overall on the target than if we're focusing on that pin and trying to hold that pin solid on the target. One last tip on this, don't just look at the middle of the target, pick out the very smallest thing that you can physically see and stare at that for the entirety of your shot. The better you can see it and the harder you can focus on what you want to hit, that tighter that float pattern will be with your pin, and the better, more cleaner you will execute your shot, and the more likely it is that you will hit what you're looking at. Go out to your range and give this a quick try. If you are not already doing it, I can almost promise you that you will instantly see better accuracy improvements with your shot. Now, the next one does not get talked about or prioritized nearly enough. Most archers and bow hunters do this once and never revisit it again. No, I'm not saying you should constantly be messing with your bow, but what I am saying is if your sight is not absolutely dialed perfectly, your accuracy will always suffer. Many of us do not take enough time sighting in. We'll shoot an end or two, make an adjustment, and then call it perfect just based on a handful of arrows. The reality is, some of our shots that actually hit the middle could be our bad shots, and some of the shots that hit off could be our good shots. If we don't do this step perfectly, we find ourselves questioning our own abilities, our equipment, and wondering what we're doing wrong when really it's just that the sight isn't sighted in perfectly to begin with, even though we think that it is. I can't tell you how many times that myself, I've been shooting at a total archery challenge, a 3D shoot, or just on the range, and I've consistently been shooting to, say, the right, and I think, what am I doing wrong? Why am I shooting to the right? When really, I just need to give my sight a few clicks to the right to bring that arrow back to the left. Don't get me wrong, you shouldn't be messing with your sight very often, if at all, once you have it set perfectly, but this is a critical piece of accuracy if you want to get the most out of your shooting. Personally, I actually like to use a physical paper target to do this process. I like a paper target because not only do I see where my group is at related to the middle for each end, but the holes are left in the paper target, so I can compare the average of where my arrows land from group to group to group over multiple ends of shooting. Just take an arrow and line it up vertically or horizontally on the paper target, and you can instantly see if your arrows are high or low or left or right on average. If I go like this, the vast majority are on this right side here, so I should give it a click or two just to the right to try to bring some of these shots over, because I still catch these on the line here. Make the small adjustment to your sight and repeat this process over days or even weeks until you can get the average of your arrows hitting the middle. This is so simple, so easy, yet so commonly overlooked. If there is one thing to hyper-focus on with your bow setup, it is making sure that your sight is sighted in perfectly. Last but not least is probably one of the most important factors for overall accuracy. Think of any professional sports player, be it golf, baseball, pool, bowling. What do they all have in common? They can all repeat the same movement with precision over and over again. Archery is no different. If you want to shoot with serious accuracy, you need to do these three things the exact same every single time. The first is our first connection to the bow. That is our bow grip. It is vital that we grip the bow exactly the same day to day, week to week, every single time. This can actually be very difficult to do, but it is so vital, especially if you are a bow hunter shooting any kind of broadhead, a competitive archer, or any archer that is just looking to be more accurate in their shooting. Even just having your hand in the exact same spot every time isn't quite enough. There could be different pressure variations which could overall influence how that arrow comes out of the bow and also how that bow sits in your hand at full draw. Yes, there are ways to make your bow more forgiving from this, and I covered this in our Ultimate Bow Build Masterclass. With that said, if you want to achieve the maximum accuracy you can possibly achieve, you have to get this perfect. I won't show you how to be repeatable with your bow grip in this video, but I will link a video on how to do it in the description so that you can refer to it if needed. The next thing is the next point of contact with the bow, which is your draw arm, release hand, and release positioning. The main thing here isn't how you do it, but that you do it consistently. We've covered many of these different ways to do this on our Learn Archery playlist on our YouTube channel, but the single most important thing here is that you are able to center your peep sight exactly the same every single time. Just like the importance of being sighted in perfectly, it is essential that you have the perfect peep sight alignment, because even just being slightly off can have your arrows impacting inches off at distance. The last and arguably most important of these three is probably what you're all thinking. It is consistency with your shot execution. This is one of the biggest factors of repeatable accuracy day in and day out. If you have a consistent grip, repeatable sight alignment with your peep sight, and have consistent execution shot to shot, you will have the best groups that you can get. When it comes to consistency, focus on these three physical form elements to shoot your tightest arrow groups possible. To focus on your overall accuracy of having your tight arrow groups hit the middle, follow these three easy ways to improve your accuracy downrange. If this video helped you out in any way, please leave us a comment on which one made the biggest difference for you. We read every single one that comes through. If you're not already subscribed, please hit that button for more solid archery information just like this. Thanks for hanging out with us here at Bow Only Outdoors.